Hey there folks, it's my last day of house sitting and it's also back day, which is for me the one workout I can't do at home. You gotta find a place with a pull-up bar. And I found one right outside the local fire station, which is nice. A guy just gave me directions to another one too, if I was staying here longer. But time to exercise. Now the challenge here is gonna be doing pull-ups while holding this camera. Let's see if I can sort of hold it with like two fingers here. Oh. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, only 7. That's a weird grip with fingers on the phone. So, gyms. I never used them much growing up, but in college I got into it because it let me eat more unhealthy food without getting fat. And one of my biggest fears before I started traveling was, oh shit, what if I lose all my gains? What if I turn back into like the comically underweight stick I was at the end of high school when I was the same height as I am now but weighed 135 pounds, not kilograms, for overseas viewers. So of course I was pleasantly surprised when the first country I went to, which was Israel, was an amazingly fit country. The food was healthy. There's a lot of it. I ate a lot of it. Best breakfast I ever had, but the food was healthy. And when I was in Tel Aviv, they had outdoor gyms on the beach, and in every town I hiked through they had these outdoor gyms that all the machines sort of used your body weight. So the heavier you are, the stronger of a workout you get, which is good for losing weight or gaining muscle or whatever. I remember going to the beach gyms in Tel Aviv and meeting some of the coolest people. They were like, because everyone in Israel has to be in the army at some point. There were these 70-year-old men and the occasional woman who were just doing like crawling across the monkey bars, like these monkey bars, like upside down, just crawling across it. Like their bodies look like they're made out of like steel cables. It's absolutely crazy. So I would say exercise was not a huge issue. You can always find somewhere to work out when you're traveling. But of course I did a bit of bodybuilding stuff near the end of college. I gained a bunch of muscle my first year after being super skinny and got addicted to it. Like the way people treat you a lot better when you look fit. It lets you do stupid things and get away with it, which I liked doing in college. But exercise was not the issue when I was traveling. Food was a bit more the issue. And by the end, like the last 2 years of college, I was taking protein powder every day, a bit of creatine to bulk up. And you can't really do that when you travel. It's not, it ruins the travel experience, so I didn't. I ate the normal food, tried to eat relatively healthy, but it's all new foods, it's exotic stuff, so I eat whatever I want. And yeah, my shoulders got smaller. I wasn't having hundreds of grams of protein a day. My belly got a bit fatter. I was more fit in the last couple years of college. But I think I'm stronger now, and when I was traveling, I was a lot stronger than I ever was when I did bodybuilding stuff in college. Like hiking and doing all body weight exercises builds a lot more strength and like real working muscle than any like machines in the gym can do. But Israel was an interesting country because they sort of had a workout culture, probably because of the mandatory military service. But the next country I went to was India, which did not really have a workout culture. Like America, there's a lot of obesity there. There's also quite a lot of like skinny, stick-thin people because of poverty, or a lot of people chew betel leaf, which is like sort of a drug. I guess it's like the equivalent of tobacco. And that money spent on that is not being spent on food, if you know what I mean. But yeah, I'm sure in the northern parts of India, in the mountainous regions, people are all obscenely healthy because they're living at high altitude. That's like blood doping, altitude training, cheating in the Olympics levels of healthy up near Mount Everest and stuff. But in most of the country, it was not a big workout culture. So when I was staying in Mumbai, I went to a gym a few times. I got like a 1 week membership there, And it was weird because there were lots of employees there, but this gym was like 2 large rooms full of equipment sandwiched in between a bunch of residential housing areas. Like, I was walking past people's doorsteps to get to the entrance of this gym. And once I was inside, if you've ever been to India, like, the air smells spicy. There's a lot of spice in the food. People eat that food. I eat that food. I burned all my clothes. Metaphorically, I just tossed them in the trash. But if I kept the clothes, I will have burned them later at the end of my stay in India, because once you eat all those spices, you sweat them out. And your sweat smells like spices. My mom was a trainer, still is a trainer. And she had a client who smoked a lot of cigarettes, and she stopped training him. Like, she refused because he would sweat out all of the cigarette products and it would smell horrible whenever he exercised. So the gym I went to in India smelled like sweat out spices, which I got used to it pretty quickly, like you do with smells. But everyone in there is just doing like Hindu push-ups, which are, if you've done yoga, it's like you start in the downward dog, you sort of bent over, your butt's up in the air, and you sink down into the cobra position and come up in a push-up. It's like the hardest of all the push-ups. Like, I'd rather be doing like jumping push-ups than those. But every trainer in there was having their clients do that. And one of the trainers actually turned over at me when I was doing normal push-ups and said, "You're doing it wrong. You must do it like this." And I was just, okay, I'm going to follow along. Do some Hindu push-ups, or cobra push-ups, they're also called, if you want to use the less like racially charged term, I guess. I don't think it's offensive, but had to put it out there. But that was my gym experience in India. Sort of like a weird, very dark inside gym. There wasn't much lighting. It's an interesting gym, but it's not one I'd like to use for the rest of my life. Now, I'm going to sort of do a bicep exercise as I film this one. But the country I went to after India was Malaysia. I ended up living there sort of on and off for 6 months. And again, there's not a workout culture in Malaysia. I'd say even less than India. There's quite a nice outdoors health culture, like jogging in the parks. There are lots of public parks. It's very nice streets, easy to get around, but not like a workout culture. I think if anyone's watching this is from Malaysia or has stayed there longer than me, correct me if I'm wrong. I think a lot of the times they're very like muscly men are sort of associated with being gay, which Malaysia is a quite liberal country for a Muslim country. I had some gay friends there, but it's not something that people are open about there. So I only found one gym there that wasn't like a boutique in the middle of the mall, $50 a month membership gym. And every person there, and it was all men, every person there was at least as fit as I am now, and some of them were quite a bit more. There's not a workout culture, but if someone's in the workout culture there, they are in the workout culture. And first of all, this gym, probably the worst equipment, like condition and like ergonomics, like the way it moves and how it lines up with your body. It was the worst equipment of any gym I've been in, but the most fun gym I've been in, because this gym was no shirt, no shoes required, first of all. So it's just everyone's in there shirtless, shoeless. The floor is so dusty, it's like a coat of dust, which is fine because there's like a massive shower in the back where you can like shower and actually wash your clothes and wring them out. It was so hot in Malaysia that when you walk home in the wet clothes, they're dry by the time you get home, which was perfect. The guy who was at the desk sort of looked like a very, very tan version of how I look now, but like his muscles were maybe like 20% bigger than mine are. This guy was like, he didn't look like he was on steroids, but he looked like he ate nothing but protein. It was crazy. And for an extra $1, because the membership was like 70 cents a day or something, and for an extra $1 at the end, which was the price of a meal in Malaysia, they just had a blender there, and they would mix you a protein shake with like milk and protein powder, and they'd even let you add in your own little powders if you wanted to do that. I didn't use anything at the time, but That gym was excellent. They had a punching bag made out of 4 tires suspended by chains, like stacked on top of each other, suspended by chains. So, like, you could break your knuckles on that thing so easily. It was insane, but I loved it there. And next country I went to was Indonesia. Briefly, you had to leave Malaysia every 3 months for visa requirements, so I went to Indonesia just for a few weeks to the island of Java. Never went to a gym there, never saw much for a workout culture there. But when I ended up going to Bali and later living and working in Indonesian Borneo, there are quite a few fit people there. The younger generation is a lot more worldly than older generations, I guess. A lot of them grow up on Western shows and like global culture, I guess. And I went to some. I didn't go to any gyms in Bali. I just sort of work out in the room of the hostel I was staying at, and ended up throwing out my back doing that. But when I was in Borneo, I had a lot of fun because for the first 11 months, the school I was teaching at provided me with an apartment, and I'll tell stories about this building. It was creepy as all hell. Like, the way they designed it, they clearly had not meant for it to be next to another building. There were like blank walls that had windows facing into other blank walls. Oh, it was weird. But I had the apartment to myself. I bought a weight vest, like a cheap $10 weight vest that you could put 20 or 30 pounds in. I'll just run around swinging like samurai swords and those little 6-foot-long martial arts sticks and nunchucks. I literally had like a $1 pair of nunchucks I got off the Indonesian version of Wish, and just swinging those around for exercise. And at one point, the nunchuck the chain snapped, and one of the little rods flew off and embedded itself in the wall. Like, I pulled it out, and there was a hole the size of this thing in the wall after. And on the other side of the wall, there's like an indentation where it had pressed out. It was incredible. The whole thing was excellent. But when I did not have that apartment anymore after I was done with my teaching contract, I'm going to stop and put a shirt on, actually. It's getting cold again. And by shirt, I mean like shirt, scarf, and jacket, because my fingers are going numb. It suddenly dropped from like the 60s to maybe the 50s, and it's getting colder rapidly. But when my teaching contract ended and I was not living in this apartment where I could run around nude all the time, I ended up getting a membership at this gym that was on the bike ride back from the school I worked at. And it was, at the time, the temperature was like in the upper 80s and low 90s. This gym had fans, but they were never turned on. Never once did I see them turned on. And it had no air conditioning. So it was like working out in a sauna. And this gym had great equipment. It had everything you could want in the gym except for like a decent like sit-up machines, I guess, like incline benches, whatever you call them. This gym was great. You had people of all different sorts in there, which was refreshing again. You had people who were like super fit. You had some truckers going in they just do arm wrestling contests, and like they would only do exercises like they'd take a cable and pull it like this. They'd only do exercises that would increase their ability to arm wrestle, which is like, I don't understand that. Like, these guys they weren't fit, they were just good at arm wrestling. There were people who were trying to lose weight, people trying to gain weight. I met a lot of friends there, actually, because like they're just like normal working people, but like they had jobs that are good enough to buy a cheap gym membership. So they were like, a lot of them spoke decent English. I still talk to some of them I met there. But this gym, the music was an issue. So in Indonesia, people listen to all sorts of music, of course. When you're in the villages, I used to go cycling on the weekends. I'd go out to like the village areas, and people are listening to everything from pop to like sort of tribal sounding drums and guitar music, which is really nice and soothing. I never managed to like get the spellings of any song, so I could probably just type in like Indonesian village music and find it. But in this gym, what they played on the radio with their speakers, which were so loud, the windows could vibrate. You could hear your body vibrate. The bass was so strong. They had like a 3-speaker setup. They played, I remember it used to say like, "This is radio DJ Indo Clubber." And it was like bits of pop songs remixed, like auto-tuned, and it sounded like a bunch of birds screwing each other while being eaten by a cat. It was the most horrible music, the most horrible sounds I have ever heard. And at first, for the first couple weeks I was there, I just sort of dealt with it and like fumed inside my head, like, this is not workout music, this is not helping my exercise happen. And eventually I was like, oh, these are Bluetooth speakers. I can hook up my phone to this if I have the nerves or the balls to do it, which I did. Part of being in foreign countries, you could get away with almost anything, and at worst, you're going to leave the country and never have to see him again. So I made a gym playlist, hooked mine up, and played some cultured rock and metal music instead of that auto-tune trash. And later I asked some of my friends, one of them who worked in customs, what was that? Please tell me that's not what you listened to. And he was like, oh, absolutely not. That the music we call that music kampunan, which sort of translates to like hick or country or tasteless. And he said never actually use that word when you're talking to people, because if they like it, they'll be really offended. That's what the music like the tukang, the field workers will listen to, just because it's like a low bar that everyone can deal with. Like, I don't know how to say this. It's like, it's music that does not require like any sort of love of music to listen to and to pump you up. If I want to get pumped up, I would listen to that. If I want to do an hour and a half workout, my ears are bleeding at the end of that stuff. But yeah, other than those countries, I spent 2 months in Thailand, and they had a nice gym. Thailand was exactly pre-COVID. Like, I left Thailand 2 days before COVID restrictions dropped, all the airports closed. Their gyms are like Western gyms, but you meet people from every country in there, and it's cool and it's cheaper. If I have some advice, if you are like a fitness person or you just want to stay healthy, don't be worried about like losing your muscles or getting fat when you travel. Wherever you are, even if you're doing like what I'm doing now, body weight stuff, you will always have options to do workouts and like maintain the level of fitness you want in your life. Don't let that be an excuse not to travel and fully live your life. All right, folks, I gotta finish this workout. I'm like 60% done. Then I'm gonna go home before my fingers fall off from hypothermia. All right, folks, see you later. Peace.